I'm just in the shed taking a look at my next self-isolation project. I'll be working from home starting tomorrow until this coronavirus thing settles down. And this bike on the bench here is probably the one that I'll start working on next. I have had this bike running in the past and I think it's got an electrical problem. Won't pull in the top end. So somebody has had a go at this. They've put an aftermarket headlight on it. They've actually, if you have a look, they've actually painted the tank, although it was originally the American style yellow. They've actually painted over it, perhaps trying to match this yellow here and here. But then there's these side covers. They're quite badly yellowed, and yet when you look behind them they were white, but that doesn't matter. I've got a set of them. The bike itself looks pretty complete, and I'm just looking around looking for any signs of gasket goo or anything like that that will indicate to me that somebody's had a real red hot crack on this, and I'm not seeing much. It's not leaking oil. It's looking alright. So this interests me. It's got a different cover on it, and it wasn't painted to match the side cover, so I suspect somebody's actually been in there and worked on that. I see that the frames had a couple of different paint jobs over the years. The rear rim, it looks alright. It looks alright. Yeah, that'll go again. And the front rim, likewise, looks okay. It's got a speedo mounted. And that does look like it may be an original Yamaha speedo. Interestingly enough, it's got an ignition switch, but it doesn't need it to run. It'll run without it, and I don't have a key for it. But I'm just having a look. All the switches and that are there. New bolt here. So yeah, somebody has done a bit of work to this bike not that long ago. It was a quiet engine, it just had a problem pulling. Now the thing with these TTs over the XTs, they had a bigger carby, and the exhaust was also a bit better, so a little bit more performance orientated. And I've got a few options to go with this. The plastics I've got are white. Most of my other bikes, Yamahas, are white. I like the European white. And I was thinking maybe use this XT tank and perhaps put it on this bike here, which is an XT250 but with YZ front and rear suspension. That's a bike I ride a lot of. Been a very good bike. It's due for a bit of attention now anyway, so that'll come up sooner or later. The only trouble with using that tank, although they're the same size, you'll see the XTs have got a different mounting system, and that's actually, there's a corresponding little horseshoe on the frame on an XT so that they sit on. Whereas the TT, it's got this system. More like your YZs, your dirt bikes, where it bolts on and off. So maybe work out what to do with that tank. They're hard to work with, plastic tanks, because paint doesn't stick to them, but there'll be an answer somewhere. We'll think of something. And I'm just having a look around here. I notice here, new bolts here, and what looks like new wiring in there to the horn. So again, a pretty good indicator that somebody's spent a bit of time on this bike not that long ago, so it might be alright. That chain guard there. Yeah, a little bit of wear there, but it's there. It's another pretty good sign in my mind. The foot pegs are there. Overall, it's looking like a fairly complete bike to me. And there's nothing really that looks too ugly or too bodged up about it. So I'm thinking this might be the bike to work on next. Get a running TT250. Yeah, brakes are still operational. So I would say the next step for that little bike is we get the engine running, sort out whatever electrical issue it's got, find out often if they're not noisy and there's no apparent reason to pull down a motor, I don't do it. What I will do is I'll adjust the tappets, make sure the timing chain's good. But if everything's working in that motor, what are you achieving by pulling it to bits? I don't know. But here, I just noticed here, the different colour in the head and the barrel. Now, somebody's had a go at this bike, so potentially that could be a very good motor. Anyway, we've got time on our hands, and at least I've got a shed to work in.